everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to KBTV. I'm Dr. Karlisha Booze. For this Wellness Wednesday segment, we're going to be talking about COVID-19. It's been a while since it's been in the public's eye, more information that has been spread across the globe. So this morning we have Dr. Hoffman, Jennifer Hoffman. She's with Piedmont Macon, and she's just here to talk more about COVID-19 and just give us any updates that we may need to know about. So thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Hoffman.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my first question will be, well, definitely students are heading back to the classroom, and there may be some parents out there concerned about COVID-19. We're not hearing much about it anymore. Are there any updates or anything we need to know as far as COVID-19?
Well, I think the major thing to know is that very thankfully, Central Georgia at least is in a little bit of a lull where at least we're not having a lot of reported cases of COVID-19, and we're seeing very little severe illness in the hospital, which is wonderful. Now, I do want to say that with the availability of home testing kits, I think it's extremely possible that there's a lot of COVID out there that we're just missing that's not getting officially reported. So the actual prevalence is probably somewhat higher than what is being officially reported by the Georgia Department of Public Health. But that said, on the positive side, very few people are getting severely ill and ending up in the hospital, which is a huge blessing for all of us. But that doesn't seem to be happening.
Okay, so I guess that was my next question as far as the cases. Are we seeing any new cases or anything like that?
So like I was saying, I think the official numbers are not very reliable because the home testing kits just don't get reported anywhere. And I think that's what the vast majority of people are doing at this point if they're testing at all. If they feel a little cruddy, do they even test or do they assume it's a cold? I don't know. I think a lot of people have kind of given up on testing at all. If they do test, they're probably testing at home. Hence, the officially reported numbers are probably not accurate. But what I can tell you is we have only had 4 admitted patients with COVID in the hospital in the last month here at Piedmont Macon, which is amazing. There was a time we were having 100 inpatients a day, in fact, a little over 100, I forget the exact peak, with COVID in the hospital. And now we have had 4 in a month instead of, 100 plus in a day. So that I've been very pleased to see that.
Okay. Now, we often see a lot of people not wearing face masks in public. Will that come back and bite us in the later in the future? Or, what are your thoughts on that?
I think my thought is right now, when the prevalence of COVID seems to be very low, it's reasonable that it's a personal choice. I think people who are particularly cautious, who want to wear a mask, obviously that's your option. There's nothing wrong with it. People who are particularly immunocompromised or who remain unvaccinated for some reason, maybe they should think about it in indoor crowded settings. For other people who are, generally healthy, not very elderly, fully vaccinated, I'll tell you this, I personally am not wearing one at the moment. Now, if cases were to start spike again a lot, I might reconsider that decision. But I think it's reasonable to say, we don't mask when it's low, we do mask when it's high, and kind of, just ride the waves.
Okay. So what's the latest on vaccines, and who do you think should be the ones getting the vaccine?
Yeah, so my opinion is that everybody needs to be getting the vaccine unless you were under 6 months old or had an anaphylactic reaction to your first dose. So with very, very few exceptions, everyone should be getting vaccinated. And so at this point, people are considered fully up to date on their COVID vaccination if they have had a single bivalent vaccine. That's the booster that was first offered last fall sometime. I can't remember precisely. People who are over 65 or who are immunocompromised are able to consider getting a second vaccine, and I would strongly recommend that for them. I recommended that to my parents, for example, that they go ahead and get a bivalent booster. For younger, healthy folks, it's generally not felt to be necessary to have more than one, at least as of this time. That recommendation may change. I wouldn't be shocked if they come out with a new vaccine in the fall, but at the moment, that's the guidance.
Okay. So I would say, what's the outlook on COVID-19 as far as the upcoming fall or the winter?
I think it's a little bit difficult to say. For one thing, we don't know when or if new strains are going to emerge. That's something that can always happen at any point in time. Could there be a new strain that makes people sicker and that, quote unquote, outsmarts the current vaccines? Yes, that could happen. So Yeah, I really can't answer that because I just don't know.
Okay.
I can't see the future. So.
Okay. So basically, would you think that this is something that we are going to have to, I guess, make it a norm? This would be a norm, all of us, sudden, because I mean, it's been around for a little while, and some people, like you said, some people are wearing their masks, some people aren't wearing their masks. So, do you think this is just going to be normal life for us, or do you expect any resurges of COVID-19 based on the data that's out there now?
I just think it's almost impossible to tell. I mean, I would not be surprised if a new variant rears its head at some point. As to when that will happen, I think that's anybody's guess. At the moment, the vast majority of people in the United States have either already had COVID, they've been vaccinated with COVID, or in cases both. And so, given that, at the moment, it seems to be what I would call an outpatient disease, which is really terrific. I mean, we would prefer, of course, that nobody in any way, but it's much, much better to have people home with schools than, on a ventilator. And at the moment, we're seeing very little serious disease, which, is a godsend. We're very happy about that. Could that change in the future? It could, but, I'm not saying it necessarily will. I hope that it remains as an outpatient disease. That's my hope. But, we'll just have to take it a day at a time.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Hoffman, for coming on the show and just updating us on COVID-19. And as the students get ready to head back to the classroom, it's totally up to the parents, like you said, if they want to wear masks or not wear a mask. So thank you for sharing this helpful information with us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And I would just encourage any parents, if your child has not already been vaccinated against COVID, I mean, that's really the best thing you can do to protect them. Honestly, I mean, masks are good, vaccination's better in terms of preventing severe outcomes. I'm not saying your kid might not still get a little upper respiratory infection, but in terms of keeping them from getting severely ill, my strong recommendation is make sure your child has had a COVID vaccine. So that's it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Are you a homeowner, a parent, or own a business? What happens to those assets in the case of death?
Hi, I'm Cassandra Barron, your local life insurance agent. Life insurance protects your income in the case of death. Call me for your free quotes today.
Affordable coverage for the whole family. Immediate coverage, no waiting period. Multiple kids coverage for one price. Call Cassandra Barron today.